Number two, no other military in the world. Now, there's the only military component for the United States in Syria, to remind, is the fight against Daesh. We're not involved militarily in the civil war in Syria. And I can say this from hefty experience of my own, having worn the uniform of the United States Navy. No other military in the world takes as much care to be as precise as possible than the United States military. That doesn't mean that we're perfect. But here's the difference. When the United States military has reason to suspect that it made a mistake and caused collateral damage or civilian casualties, we own up to it. We put a press release out about it. We don't wait for you to ask. We tell you, hey, we think we might have made a mistake. We're going to investigate it. And here's the other thing. When we finish the investigation, we put a press release out about that. And we have a press conference. And we answer questions from you in the media about the mistakes we made and the lessons we learned. There's a big difference there.
So it would be wrong to say that there's an equivalence in civilian casualties between Russian airstrikes and American airstrikes?
First of all, any civilian casualty is a tragedy. One is too many. I'm not minimizing that at all. Nobody should want to see or cause civilian casualties. And every time we do it, we own up to it. And we're honest about it. And we work that much harder the next time around not to cause it. The difference is, when we're talking about, let's just talk about operations inside Syria. Again, to remind, our military operations are against Daesh, not against the regime. The difference is when we cause them, it's unintentional, or there was a mistake involved. It's not a deliberate attempt to put innocent civilians in harm's way. Again, doesn't mean it doesn't happen. When it does, we own up to it, we investigate it. What we've seen in and around Aleppo specifically with respect to the Syrian regime and Russian military aircraft is a wanton disregard for the safety and security of civilians and an indiscriminate approach to the bombing, which is absolutely not at all in concert with the way we conduct our military air operations.
I want to follow up on the meeting.
Okay, so your colleague at the White House was asked about this question, a similar question just a few minutes ago. And what he said was that the review continues. And then he said the assistance that we provide, and which is presumably the assistance that's under review, is primarily logistical support. We do share some intelligence with them, but the United States does not do targeting for them. That's correct?
Yes.
So if, as you said in your response to the first, in the first series of answers to questions here, that the U.S. military makes every effort and is second to none in the world in trying to avoid, has it crossed anyone's mind that maybe you should do targeting or help the Saudis with targeting? Because they clearly seem, and I appreciate that it's under investigation, but an investigation by them, to be doing the same kind of indiscriminate approach to bombing that you accuse the Syrians of doing.
Well, look, the support to the Saudi-led coalition, and I'm wary of speaking specifically to military equities. Certainly, I would encourage you to reach out to the Defense Department about the aid and assistance that they provide militarily and why they do it the way they do it. But it's specifically because we have concerns about the manner in which some of these operations have been conducted that we are going through this review. And we're doing it carefully with an eye towards the reality that that our support, absent our support, their effectiveness militarily could be diminished. We're mindful of that. But the specific reason why we don't provide targeting information, I think I would refer you to my colleagues at the Pentagon to discuss.
But absent of our support, the efficiency of their military could be diminished?
Absent some measures of U.S. support, certainly you have to consider the fact that some of their effectiveness could be diminished.
But effectiveness in what? In hitting civilians? I'm not trying to be obnoxious here. I'm just trying to figure. Absent our support,
not every strike that they take.
In other words, it would be even worse.
I think it's important to remember, Matt, that not every strike they take hits civilian
I know,
targets.
so you're saying that mistakes like this would happen, or would probably happen more often?
One of the things that we're going to do as we look through that review is examine that exact question, the degree to which the aid and assistance actually helps try to minimize collateral damage and civilian
Okay.
casualties.
Well, it would seem, though, given what you said about the U.S. military and the attention it pays to trying to avoid this, that in fact, instead of reducing assistance as a consequence, that this review might end up increasing assistance to them to help them better avoid.
I won't get ahead
Things
of,
like
I'm not going to get
happening.
ahead of the review. I don't know that I would extrapolate that outcome from what I said.
And then last thing.